Resident Evil is one of those franchises that there is just so much that goes on. Games restart development, games change ideas, games reuse ideas. I mean, these games have done so much that make them stand out, and really it makes these games fresh. There have been a lot of leaked Resident Evil games last year, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Capcom's documents got leaked and it leaked Resident Evil 8, the RE4 remake, and a few other Resident Evil games. And one of those Resident Evil games was a game called Resident Evil Outrage. And supposedly we recently just got a leak slash rumor that Resident Evil Outrage has actually been canceled. My voice is dying today, so I apologize. So if you guys could please bear with me, I would appreciate it. So all jokes aside, Resident Evil Outrage. Now this is going to be another short video because we actually don't know too much about this game. I mean, obviously it probably didn't even start development. There was probably some sort of concept, maybe a story. I don't think it was a story game, which we'll get to. It was actually a multiplayer game, so there probably wasn't a story, but in terms of the ideas and concepts, they were probably just written down. There was probably some concept art, and then they were like, yeah, we're not gonna do this. So this was reported by a bunch of different people, but supposedly Dust Golem is the original person who reported on this. I could be wrong, but I know he is definitely one of the top people that knew about this game, and supposedly it was going to be some sort of multiplayer game. Now my guess, I have no idea. Some people might think, oh, Outrage sounds like Outbreak. Maybe it would have been like Resident Evil Outbreak, which, look, to me it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because for some reason Capcom does not want to touch Resident Evil Outbreak. They don't want to remake it, they don't want to remaster it. I don't know what they're doing. I do believe that someday Resident Evil Outbreak, a remake or remaster or whatever, will eventually happen because, look, I'm gonna be honest, a couple of you guys have been commenting recently saying that you actually enjoyed Resident Evil Resistance, and I could understand that. Like I said, I did have somewhat of a good time. It wasn't all bad. I had a decent time with Resident Evil Resistance, but let's be honest, that is not the most successful multiplayer Resident Evil game that Capcom could make. I feel like Resident Evil Outbreak, if they ever get around to remaking it, is going to be their most successful Resident Evil game because all we need is a Resident Evil game that plays like their remakes but with multiplayer. That's all we need, and obviously one that's polished and fun and maybe has a story and scenarios. Like, that would be the ultimate Resident Evil multiplayer game, and I hope we get that someday. Some people are like, I don't want a battle pass. Look, I would be fine. I know this sounds crazy, but I would be fine with a battle pass in a Resident Evil game. If it's just cosmetic stuff, just like Fortnite or Call of Duty, I would be cool with that. Just give us a good and solid Resident Evil multiplayer game. But yeah, supposedly Resident Evil Outrage has been canceled. I feel like this is the most pointless video I will ever make because we know absolutely nothing about this game, but I still want to talk about this because if you guys are watching this, I want you guys to comment down below, what is the dream multiplayer Resident Evil game that you guys want from Capcom? From me, like I said, it's Resident Evil Outbreak. Simple as that. Like I said, my dream multiplayer Resident Evil game that I feel like would be very successful if it's executed correctly is just like Resident Evil Outbreak, you know, where it plays like their remakes but with multiplayer, and it's polished, and there's a story, and there's scenarios, and, you know, cool things like that. We almost had that with Resistance, but Resistance just had too many problems. It was unpolished. There was not, I mean, kind of a story, not really. It was, you know, you were experimenting, or you were experiments. I don't really know. The point is, Resident Evil Resistance wasn't the greatest thing that it could have been. It was a decent concept because it basically was Dead by Daylight, but, you know, it just wasn't executed, you know, correctly. And so with Resident Evil Outrage, I mean, I don't know. I would assume that they probably canceled it because maybe Capcom they got too ahead of themselves, and they realized that, like, hey, we need to put our resources into Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil 8 DLC and this rumored Resident Evil Nintendo Switch exclusive, which again, those are rumors, but the only thing that is confirmed is, of course, Resident Evil 8 DLC, which I am just eager to know more about. Capcom just needs to release something because I'm super excited for that. But of course, out of everything I said in this video, what are your guys' thoughts? Be sure to let me know down below. And of course, a big thumbs up on the video is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, I will catch you, ladies and gentlemen, all in the next one, and peace out.